Hey loves, good morning. I'm Brenna Paxton, your guide to astral and earthly travel, and today is the last day of 2019. And I've been seeing a lot of people do a lot of reflecting, not only over the past year, but the past decade. And I wanted to take some time to talk about the importance of reflection. No, I'm not telling you that you need to go do this about the last decade right now. I'm more just mean the importance of reflection on a daily basis and how pivotal it is to my life and my practice, and how that's been what has allowed me to truly cultivate a deeper sense of awareness. And I want to talk to you about why that's so important, I weirdly don't feel like an extreme compulsion to reflect on the past 10 years or even the past year, even though it is New Year's Eve. I think part of the reason for that is because, honestly, I think that the calendar New Year feels really arbitrary and random, and it's not synced with the seasons. And I definitely think of the spring equinox as the new year, personally. I think that makes way more sense, especially because in the winter, it's when we're really going inward. You know, it's dark, it's cold, we're spending time reflecting, thinking, dreaming, nurturing ourselves, taking care of ourselves, resting, rejuvenating, recuperating. And I think winter's a really important time to do that. And it feels really bizarre in the middle of that, smack in the middle of it. I mean, and really the winter season just began with the winter solstice right before the new year, right? And you know, we still have 3 months left of recuperating and resting and reflecting. But then all of a sudden January 1st comes around and everyone's like, oh my gosh, I need to make these resolutions and I need to start this new thing and I need to start it on January 1st, and I need to stick to this for the whole year. And really, it makes so much more sense to do that come spring, when all of nature is coming back to life. We are nature, we are a part of nature, so it only makes sense to me that spring would be when we really start moving forward in an active physical way. I do like the idea of even like the December winter solstice kind of being the beginning of that new year, and it's starting with the rest and reflection. But I think that in the traditional sense of like a New Year's resolution sort of thing being like when you're getting to work, I really point that at the spring equinox in March. Makes so much more sense to me. That's just my philosophical ramble about that. Regardless, it is the end of 2019. It's about to be 2020 tomorrow, and I am excited about it. It is, the new year is a cool portal in terms of numerology. But again, even the years that we like all subscribe to feel random, since, you know, the idea of like AD, BC years, like someone just decided, you know, I actually need to do some more research on this, because I remember, like, didn't Caesar create a whole new calendar and then someone else did? I don't know. I need to look into it. But it was just some random dude, right, that decided like, I'm declaring that this is this date, and then we all like subscribe to that. That feels like it has like imperialism like embedded in it or something. I don't know, I don't like it. Whatever. Regardless, 2020 is cool. Obviously 2020 vision, all of that feels really potent. Yeah, so reflecting, I guess that's what I actually wanted to talk to you about, right? I do a lot of reflecting. I do it in sync with the moon phases for the most part. I'm also just a naturally very reflective person and do it all the time anyway. But I do truly think there's something to the concept of, well, something quite powerful to the concept that reflecting is what allows you to cultivate deeper awareness. If you don't reflect, I mean, that's what reflection is. It's taking a look at yourself. It's a reflection. It's taking a look at your actions. It's being consciously aware of what it is that's been going on, both with you, with the world, internally, externally. Awareness is really, really important. I will constantly preach awareness as like the most important thing, because if you don't have awareness, then everything is functioning in your life in a really subconscious, unaware way, where your life is essentially running you. Since if you don't have awareness around something, it means you really have no way to have control over it. And again, a paradoxical statement, because I'm not suggesting that you have control over everything or over life, because we don't. But you do have control over the amount of awareness you can cultivate and the insights that that can bring you. You have a sense of control over being able to become aware or not. Like, that's maybe one of the only things you do have control over, is reflecting on what's actually happening in your life and trying to ask the question, why? Why is this happening? Why is this something I do? Why is this something I'm feeling? Why are my life circumstances the way that they are? What are the societal aspects that have contributed to my life as it is? What are the personal aspects that have contributed to my life as it is? Etc. So, if we don't cultivate awareness, then everything's running on autopilot. And ultimately, what that would do is it would cause your societal programming to take the lead. So if you don't know why you do something, then it means that whatever it is that you're doing and the way that you're doing it has been dictated by your society or your family or some subconscious belief that was taught to you in the past, which comes from your society, right? So to truly have the power over your own life, the only amount of power we can have, again, I'm not saying like ultimate power, because really that lies in flowing with the cosmos and the divine. But the only amount of power we can really harness is only available to us if we are aware, if we are constantly aware. And that really is a practice that you have to commit to daily, because so often the things that we do on autopilot from our subconscious reveal themselves to us on a daily basis in like deeper layers, like more and more layers. And sometimes they're hard to spot the patterns, and sometimes one day randomly you'll just realize the reason why you've been doing something or why something is the way it is. And I think that we receive that awareness when we're ready for it, when we can have the capacity to deal with it. And that's when it will arise for us, so that we're ready to have that awareness and do something with that awareness. But if we aren't diligent about being aware on a daily basis, then it's really easy for everything to just kind of pass by us really quickly. Things to unfold, like I said, in this way where we're not fully conscious of why they're happening or why things are unfolding in the way that they are. And then we're not able to have control over our reactions to these things, rather than being aware and responding to them with an informed viewpoint. So awareness is crucial. And I really believe that's what reflection is, right? It's about awareness in retrospect, I suppose. And I think we need retrospect. We need that distance sometimes, that time between when the thing happened and whenever you're reflecting on it, in order to have a perspective that isn't so tied up in your emotions, or tied up in those fleeting emotions, not necessarily those big, divine, intuitive emotions, but those fleeting, reactionary emotions that can cloud our vision sometimes. I think that's why retrospect is so helpful, is it like clears the fog of those reactionary emotions so that you're able to look at what happened in a much clearer, more matter-of-fact way, less tied up in it. So I think that when I say that I don't necessarily have a desire to reflect over the past 10 years, I do, but again, I think that it's almost more important to learn how to cultivate daily awareness rather than very sporadic reflection. Sporadic reflection is better than nothing, so please start there. That's fantastic. Reflection is very important, but if you do find it as a helpful tool for you, to reflect and realize that you do feel a lot better when you're able to reflect on things, I would highly encourage you to try and implement that practice into your daily life through a cultivating an awareness practice, a daily moment-by-moment awareness practice. And to me, that really means the pursuit of being in a constant state of reflection, where anything that happens, you're constantly observing it almost as a third party, not as someone who is wrapped up in the emotional reaction of the thing, not taking it personally, but just observing kind of matter-of-factly, this is what's going on. Why could this be going on? What are the societal causes of this occurring? What are the personal causes of this occurring? How do I feel about this situation? How do I feel about what's happening? Why do I feel the way I feel about it? What is the source of that feeling? What is the pattern that is playing out from my childhood, from some limiting beliefs, from my subconscious, from my societal programming? Is this a pattern that's been reoccurring? Is it something entirely new? What is this teaching me? What am I learning from this? How could I respond to this appropriately? Will my response create a ripple effect? Yes, it always does. How will my response affect other people? How will the way I respond to this situation that is arising affect the environment? How will it affect marginalized groups that aren't even necessarily sitting around me right now, but the power of my word and my response and my reactions does trickle out perpetually, through society, even if it's not someone I'm talking to directly in this moment. What is the impact of my response, of my words, of my reaction, of my emotions? All of these amazing questions, right? Those are the things we should be asking ourselves constantly, and kind of getting into the habit of just operating from that place of truly considering with conscious awareness what is going on around me and in front of me and inside of me at all moments in time. I really feel that this is one of the most important practices, or the most important practice we can possibly learn to cultivate and implement into our lives, because it's when we act from a place of unawareness that things get really messy. It's also messy when you have awareness, right? Because then you have to start unpacking, why is this happening? Where is this coming from? What huge systems do I want to contribute to dismantling that are contributing to my reactions right now or something? So I'm not saying that's not messy. It is. But it's more dangerous when you aren't aware of these things. That's when things just kind of happen and we say oh my God, how did Trump get elected president? Well, if we were paying attention, maybe we would have realized that was very obviously going to happen. So I feel that's a really flippant example. That was just like a stupid example, but I do truly mean that. Like, a ton of little unaware choices on a daily basis add up to really big things, really huge societal things that can happen because everyone is unaware of them or turning a blind eye to them. Not everyone, but the majority, right? So I think we need to get it to where the majority is aware in every moment. The majority is conscious of their responses and reactions and their impact, all of that. God, it's so important. I'm so passionate about talking about this. I really feel like this is how you change the world, is by cultivating awareness on a personal and a societal level. And then once you have that awareness as a foundation, you can begin to align your life personally and societally to the awareness you have cultivated. And it's a constant practice going back and forth, cultivating more awareness, aligning your life to that awareness. And alignment is crucial as well, because alignment's really walking the walk, right? It's not just cultivating awareness and not doing anything with it. You have to do something with that awareness, or else it kind of falls flat, right? And I mean, just having awareness in and of itself is potent and it will do something. But to really, put your money where your mouth is, you have to align your life and your actions to that awareness. And I think that's what I'm referring to when I say actually considering your impact, the impact of your words, the impact of your responses, the impact of your subconscious, unaware reactions, the impact of you allowing your societal programming to play out through you because you are turning a blind eye to what those things are, what it is that is happening. Just allowing society to act through you. You become a pawn. Excuse me. Become a pawn in the system. So if you want to change the system, if you want to break out of the system, if you want to feel that you are in as much control of your life as you are capable of, then you need to cultivate awareness. If you want to change the world, if you want to make the world a better place, you need to cultivate awareness. God, let's do it, right? This is the work to me. The awareness of who we truly are and who we are not. What our society has taught us we are, that we are not. We have to cultivate that awareness, or else nothing's going to change. And the time is now. It's now. Like, we're running out of time. I don't want to say that in this weird fear-based, panicky way, but so many generations before us have said, oh, the next generation will figure it out. No, let's figure it out now. We don't need to keep passing this off perpetually forever. That's unawareness. That's not taking responsibility for ourselves. That's not owning our power. I'm not into that. So let's do it. Let's hold that power. Let's cultivate that awareness. Let's change the world. We can do it. It's going to take all of us too, like, that's why I'll continuously preach this, because it truly is accurate when you say that, like, if you want to change the world, you need to start with yourself. Like, yes, start with cultivating awareness inside of yourself, and that will ripple outward. Like, that is how we change the world. Yeah. I feel like I could talk about this for hours and hours, actually, but that's where I'm going to leave you. I hope you have a great New Year's Eve, a great New Year's start to 2020, regardless of if you celebrate that as your new year or not. But I am definitely excited. There's a lot of great things happening astrologically and numerologically in this new year. And it feels like some really potent energy, and it's time to get to work. So let's make it happen. But please don't forget to allow yourself to rest and rejuvenate. especially if you're just like feeling the pressure of the new year and you need to like start making things happen, but it doesn't feel right, then listen to yourself and don't wait till March or something. Like, let yourself take the time you need to reflect, to process, to cultivate awareness, to really nourish and nurture yourself and your soul and your spirit. I love you guys. I love you, friend. I'll see you later, okay? Happy New Year.